Okay, so we're in Yud Gimel base 4 lines from the bottom. Gemara said before that if you want to do smicha to be able to judge cases like a mumche, be on a Sanhedrin Gedola, Sanhedrin Katana, Dine Knesses, you have to have smicha from 3 people. One person can't be samech. We can't have one person give smicha. V'am Rabbi Yehuda Merav. Rabbi Yehuda said in Merav the following story. Baram, but only Zachar Oisi Ish Latayv. Remember this man for good, who was if Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava Shmei. His name was Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. This Tana. Shel Malihu Nishtakhu Dina Knesses Mi Yisrael. If not for him, the dinim of Knesses would have been forgotten from Klal Yisrael. They would have been forgotten. Nigrasinu, you should learn them. What do you mean? If not for him, he would have been forgotten. Ella batlu dinim Knesses Yisrael. It means it would have been batal. You wouldn't have had anyone able to judge such dinim because there would have been smicha, would have been batal. What happened? The evil rulers once decreed Gzera al Yisrael, Gzera on Klal Yisrael should call a anyone who gives smicha should get killed. Anyone who gets smicha should get killed. And a city that they did smicha in it should get destroyed. And if there's any tchum Shabbos, any boundaries around the city that they did smicha in, Ya'akru should be uprooted.
What's done? It's not a marker. It's not a. You see, you destroy it, but chumash.
Well, that's where they plant fields and stuff like that. So Ya'akru will get uprooted. Right? So the fields around the city.
Chumash means that we not get tchum Shabbos.
Yeah.
The boundaries.
Yeah. Ma'asa Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. What did Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava do? Halach v'yashav le'bein shnei har. He didn't want to cause a city to get destroyed. So halach v'yashav le'bein shnei harim gedolim. He went between 2 big mountains. Uvein shtei yaros gedolos, and between 2 big cities. They wouldn't want to destroy them, the big cities. Uvein shtei tchumei Shabbos, and between 2 tchumei Shabbos. And where was this? Bein Usha le'Shefram, between Usha and Shefram. V'samach sham, and over there he was saying mechamishes kanim, 5 zakanim, ve'elohin, and these are the 5. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yasi, Rabbi Elazar ben Shemua. These 5 great Tanaim he gave smicha to at that point. Rav Avi Yemaisav have Rav Nechem. Rav Avi says there was 6-1, Rav Nechem also. Now what happened? Kivin Shekiroi Ve'em. Once the enemy realized this, they must have heard. Amleni told them, Banai, so Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava told them, to those 5 or 6 Talmidim, Banai, my sons, Rutsu, run. Amrlei, they told him, Rabbi Matei Alecha, what's going to be about you? Amleni told them, Arini Mutal Lefneim Ke'evan, She'ein Lahoifchem. I'll stand in front of them like a stone that doesn't have anyone who could turn it over. Masha explains that it means he won't even feel anything. He'll be like a daimim. He'll be immovable, unpermeable. Amru, they said over Leizazim Misham. They didn't leave there. In other words, the Goyim didn't leave from Yehuda ben Bava. Chanatzu by Shalosh Meis Lunvias Shel Barzal. They stabbed him with 300 spears of iron. V'asu kikivra. They made him like a sieve full of holes. Nebuch. But the Gemara's kasha is, you see, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava himself did smicha, and that's only one person. And for the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava achrini hava ba'adei. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava had 2 others with him to give smicha. And they didn't count them in the story because of the covenant of Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, so it only says Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, but there were for sure 2 other people with him. The Gemara of Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava Samchai, he said the list of 5 people plus Rabbi Nechemia that Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava gave smicha to. Rabbi Nechemia, was Rabbi Meir really one of those people? Rabbi Barbachanan, Rabbi Yechanan, Kolaim Rabbi Meir Leisamcha Rabbi Kiva in Elataya. Rabbi Barbachanan said in Rabbi Yechanan that if you say that Rabbi Meir did not get smicha from Rabbi Kiva, you're making a mistake. In other words, Rabbi Meir got smicha from Rabbi Kiva. And for the Gemara, Samchi Rabbi Kiva of Kiblai. So Rabbi Kiva gave him smicha, and Rabbi Meir didn't accept the smicha. Rashi explains he was a bachor, he was young, and so he didn't feel it was appropriate for him to take it. And then afterwards, Samchi Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava v'Kiblai. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava gave him smicha, and then he was mekabelet. So really, he got smicha twice. Amr Rabbi Shua ben Levi ein smicha b'chutz la'aretz. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says there's no smicha in chutz la'aretz. What does this mean? There's no smicha in chutz la'aretz. In fact, the Gemara, my ein smicha. What does it mean? There's no smicha. Ilay madloi daini dine knasas klal b'chutz la'aretz. If it means that there's no halachas of smicha in chutz la'aretz, because you don't judge dine knas in chutz la'aretz, so it's not negayat to smicha in chutz la'aretz. In fact, the Gemara Vatanan we learned in the Mishnah. It's a Mishnah in Makkos. Sanhedrin eges min baretz min chutz la'aretz. The Sanhedrin is naig both in Eretz Yisrael and chutz la'aretz. Ela d'leisamchinan b'chutz la'aretz. It means that you don't do smicha in chutz la'aretz. It means that you don't give the best in chutz la'aretz can't give someone smicha. In fact, the Gemara Pshita, it's pasha tzemchin b'chutz la'aretz v'nesmachim ba'aretz. Hamin and delight. It's pasha that if you want to give smicha, the people who are giving smicha on chutz la'aretz, and they want to give smicha to somebody in Eretz Yisrael, then you can't do it. We said that you don't give smicha in chutz la'aretz. Even if the person is in Eretz Yisrael who's going to be the recipient of smicha, you can't do it. What if the people want to give smicha in Eretz Yisrael, but they're giving smicha to someone who is in chutz la'aretz? What's the halacha? Are you allowed to do that? So you have the saimchin in Eretz Yisrael, and the nesmachin in the chutz la'aretz, and the saimchin in Eretz Yisrael want to give smicha to the ones that are in chutz la'aretz. Tashma, bring your raya. Rabbi Yochanan have mitzvah later of Shman bar Abba have gavabayu d'lismachei. Rabbi Yochanan was in pain, was troubled by the fact that Rav Shimon bar Abba wasn't there with him. He was in Bavel apparently, and that he couldn't give him smicha. So you see from the fact that Rabbi Yochanan didn't just give Rav Shimon bar Abba smicha remotely, so to speak, you see that Rav Shimon bar Abba had to be there in Eretz Yisrael, and since he wasn't able to do it. Rabbi Shimon ben Zirid v'chadi imei. Rabbi Shimon ben Zirid plus one person, Omanu Rabbi Yonasan ben Achmai, that one person was Rabbi Yonasan ben Achmai. But some say it was the other way around. Rabbi Yonasan ben Achmai v'chadi imei. Rabbi Yonasan ben Achmai plus one person, Omanu, and who is that one person? Rabbi Shimon ben Zirid. Chad tahav gabayu samchu. One who was by, I assume it means Rabbi Yochanan, they gave him smicha. V'chad lev gabayu lo samchu. And one was not by Rabbi Yochanan, and they didn't give him smicha. So you see that you have to be by the person who is giving the smicha. Rab Chanina and Rab Hoshia have a kamishtak of Rab Yochanan and Mesmachenu. Rab Chanina and Rab Hoshia, Rab Yochanan was waiting. He was trying to give them smicha. Leiva Mistayim Elsa. It never worked out. There was never. Again, we said before, you need three people, right? So you need to have three smuchan all together. So it just never worked out. Rab Yochanan was there, and Rab Chanina was there, Rab Hoshia was there. It never worked out. Have a Kamitztar Tuva, he was very troubled about this. Amrulay, they told him, no, you shouldn't be troubled. We come from the Beis Eli. The Amr Shmuel bar Nachman and Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman said in the name of Rabbi Yonasan, you don't give smicha to the Beis Eli. Shenamar, the pasuk says like this in Shmuel. There won't be a zakin in your house. This is the Rebbeinu Shalom talking to Eli. I think it's actually the Navi quoting Hashem to Eli, if I remember correctly, saying that there won't be any old people in his house. That's what it means literally. Kol Yom, old days. My zakin, what does it mean, old person? If it means literally an old person, somebody who reached a certain age. But the pasuk says, all the people in your house, as they grow old, will die young. And the Rashi says, brings down a Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, that it's by 18. So yeah, Shmani Shoshana. Ella, so what must we be talking about? It doesn't mean zikna of age, ela smicha. Smicha that they'll be able to get smicha, that they won't get smicha. Means there won't be smicha. And Rashi explains how's an 18-year-old getting smicha. Rashi explains that the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah says that the pasuk says by Bnei Eli, by Eli, it says, yeah, and the Gemara says that for Zevach and Mincha, bringing a carbon won't be mischaper for them, but their Torah, and Gemilas Chasadim, that is mischaper for them. So they would be able to live longer, but still, even if they live longer because they become big Talmidei Chacham and learn, they're still not going to be Zaycha to Smicha. So therefore, they told Rabbi Yochanan, don't feel so bad because we can't get Smicha anyway. Reb Zera have a mitmar milamismachei. Reb Zera was hiding that he didn't want anyone to give him smicha. The Amar Rabbi Lazar, because Rabbi Lazar says, "La'olam have a kabel v'kayim." A person should be kabel means to be dark, to keep a low profile, v'kayim, and you live long. It's a good skula. Skula for staying alive. If we have in coming up. Yeah, coming up we have in this parasha, next parasha, Yosef HaTzadik, he died first of all his brothers because the Gemara says because he was the manig, he was the Mishnah Melech of Parai, and therefore that was Gedula is Mikaveres Ba'aleha. Rabbanos Gedula, it makes the person who has it die young. So he said.
Same category.
Right.
He died young.
I don't know. But probably he died younger than he would have otherwise. Okay. But Lamaisi, he said, Rabbi Lazar says, you should keep a low profile. You live long. Even the Shama Lahad Amar Rabbi Lazar, when he heard the different mimer of Rabbi Lazar, member of Rabbi Lazar, that a person doesn't go up to Gedula unless they're Rebbeinu Shloim is Meichel all his Averis, he made himself available. He made himself available because he figured, it's going to be a good thing if I can get Mechila for all my Averis, and therefore he wanted to. He didn't hold himself back from getting smicha. Kisamchul Reb Zera and Taka, they did end up giving smicha to Reb Zera.
I was similar. It says by davening your Bashana Zachar Kalan Shkochas.
Yeah.
So, but Gedali Shul.
It's not that very easy.
Grab himself wood at least.
So what happened? Are you sure?
Ty said, when you forget it, because Roger remembers, the kind of person is, when you do all the chesed you do, if you forget it, that's what Roger remembers.
Yeah.
Remembers.
Yeah.
But you forget. You have it in your mind, you be like, I say, Grace, Katan is now, well, yes, forget about it. That's,
Yeah. You should remember. Okay, Rabbi Yitzi, we're on Yudal and Aleph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines down in the wide lines.
over.
Huh?
I have to make some Jackson come back and the
So the Gemara had just said that Reb Zera originally was not letting himself get smicha because Gedula is mekaveras ba'alam, Gedula buries the people who have it. But then he heard Reb Lazar said that when a person's Gedula, greatness, so he didn't want to get smicha. Yeah, it's not good to be great. We just said that we have it in this week's parsha, and the next week's parsha, Yosef died earlier than all his brothers because he was the Mishnah Malach. But then he heard that Rabbi Lazar said,
he had more pressure, but the Babish went up, tried to roll the whole time.
That's a lot of pressure.
Tough job. Other farmers, a bright easy life.
Yeah, Mask him.
He had all power.
Right, exactly. So he.
But in any case, that Reb Zera, when he finally heard that Rabbi Lazar said that a person who does or is a l'gdula, the Rebbeinu Shem Meichel all kalav, it's a simon that the Rebbeinu Shem Meichel is havainis. He said, okay, I'm not going to avoid it. And Lamaisa they gave him smicha. So the Gemara says, Kisamchul Reb Zera, when they did give smicha to Reb Zera, Shar lehachi, they sang for him the following, as if he was like a kala. They sang this for a kala. Like chal, they sing for a kala. The woman doesn't need to have eye makeup. V'lei srak is face makeup. V'lei perchus and not hair product. V'yalas and still she is a v'yalas. In other words, this lady doesn't need extra cosmetics to make her beautiful. Where they're saying the same nigun that they sang by Akala, they sang to Reb Zera to say that Reb Zera was naturally a great Talmid Chacham. Zaktan Mark, Yisamchul Rab Ami Rab Asi, when they gave smicha to Rab Ami and Rab Asi, Sharluachi, they sang the following to them. Kol Mendain Smuchalana, this kind of person you should give smicha to. We want to give smicha to. Like says Mechulana, don't give smicha, let me smar mitin. Now for people who are like a smarta, the smart's like a shmata, that somebody who he doesn't give good
Not
shot
respectable.
in the it doesn't give good shot in the sugyas. Enough people who turn things around and don't have clara cup. They say the wrong answer, wrong reasons for the wrong things. V'amrila, and some said they saying not for people. Chamisin, a chamsin is someone who steals. So somebody who doesn't give the reason for the Torah, he holds back. And yes, he holds back and doesn't give the reason. Termisin, and termisin is somebody who his Torah is like bitter. His termis is a Mara says in brachas.
Like Rashi, lawyer's parish.
Right, but Rashi says in other places, and other people say termis is a type of vegetable that needs to be cooked 7 times. The Gemara says.
Very hard.
It's very bitter, very hard, very bitter. And after you cook it that many times, we're saying that you don't want somebody whose Torah is bitter. It's not sweet. It doesn't give it over well. Rabavo, when he went from the yeshiva to the house of the Caesar, he had to go for various shtadlanas things. He was a big askin. Nafki matronisa the Bekesar, the women of the house of the Caesar would come out, and they would sing like this: Rabba Da'ame, he is the leader of his nation. Madvarna Domse, he's the manig, he leads them to where they need to go. He's the guide to his nation. Vutzina Dinahira, it's the shining torch, the shining light. Rashi explains because Rabavo was very handsome, so they were praising with the last phrase. They were praising his physical beauty. Brech Masel Hashalim, gebenched as you're coming for peace. That's how they would greet him. Okay. Now the Mishnah says, weiter, Arifas Egla B'Shleisha. We have the halacha is that if there's a person who's found harug between 2 cities, you bring an egla rufa, you kill it, you say there's a whole process to do. How many people do you need over there? You need 3. The Mishnah says you need 3 dayanim for that. Tanar Rabbanan Rabbanan.
Which city? Because the city that's closest by.
Both cities will be 20?
Say one more time.
Total of how many from both cities or each city?
3 total, but we're going to talk about the number in a second.
Yeah, but then
It doesn't have to be from that city. It doesn't have to be from that city. No. The question is how many dayanim you need. It doesn't have to be from that city.
No. I would guess that.
Right.
Right.
Well, let's look in the Gemara and let's see if I'm right. Okay. Tanar Rabbanan Rabbanan. I may not be. Tanar Rabbanan Rabbanan. V'yatzu zekenech v'sheftecha. The pasuk says your zakenim and your sheftim should go out. Zekenecha is lashon rabim, so that's shnayim, that's 2. Sheftecha shnayim, sheftecha is your judges, that's also lashon rabim, that's 2. Ve'ein, that's a total of 4. Ve'ein bezin shakal, you can't have a bezin that's even. Masifan alein eidechad, so you add 1 more. Harin kan chamisha, so you have 5 dayanim. Div Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda argues with the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda says you don't do 3, you do 5.
I'll say something. Zekenecha sheftecha are 2 different people. So why should you put it together? Why have the 2 and 2? It's separate.
So Rabbi Yehuda holds that Zekenecha and Sheftecha are the same people. It's the people of the Sanhedrin, the elders of Klal Yisrael. So why does it say both?
It has to be elders?
Huh? In general, there were elders. They were not the Musafim. You call them the Zakir Zesha Kanachachma, right? It doesn't technically have to be. It doesn't have to be. I think you're right, but that's what Zakir is. But I'm not saying. I'm telling you what Rabbi Yehuda says. But to hold that thought, because we're going to see on Amud Beis a different Bandi Amar who holds much closer to what you're saying. Okay, so just we'll see that in Mitzvah Hashem in a couple minutes. Rabbi Shimon says the Zekenecha Shnayim. Rabbi Shimon argues with Rabbi Yehuda. He says Zekenecha means 2. Ve'ein bezin shakol, and you can't have a bezin shakol. Masifan alein ma'idachas. So you add 1 more. Harei kan shleisha. So Rabbi Shimon is saying like the Mishnah, you only need 3. Frak the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon ha'sheftecha mi'avadei. What did he do with the pasuk sheftecha? He didn't have to say it. He means that it should be the Ziknei Sanhedrin Gedol, Rashi says. It should be the chashava ones from your Sheftecha, not plain people like from, I don't mean plain, like the guy off the street. I mean from the smaller Sanhedrin, like the Sanhedrin of the city, which only has 23, right? So not from there, from the great Sanhedrin, because these are the most chashava people. What about Rabbi Yehuda? Where does he learn that it should be from the big Sanhedrin? It didn't have to say Zikenecha Lashon Rabim, so it could have said Ziknei, and therefore it teaches us that it should be from the Chashava people, Chashava Zakanim, which is from the Sanhedrin Gadol. Rabbi Shimon, why doesn't he learn like Rabbi Yehuda? Zikne, if it should have been from Zikne, Avamina Zikne Ashok. You would have thought it meant just Zikanim from the Shuk. You find a guy, an old guy in the Shuk, and you say, hey uncle, you want to come do smicha over here? But we're not talking about that. Therefore, Kasar Rachman is Zikanecha. That's what the Torah says Zikanecha to tell you they're the Chashuv ones. If it would have just said Zikanecha, I would have thought it was the small Sanhedrin, the 23 Sanhedrin. You don't need to have a big Sanhedrin. The Torah says v'sheftecha to tell you that it's the specific one, the unique ones from your judges, which means from a Sanhedrin Gedela. Rabbi Yehuda, Gomer Ziknei Ziknei, Vivasamchu Ziknei Eides Yideyim. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, how do I know that? That it's from the Sanhedrin Gedela, because it says, Gzer Shava, it says, Vivasamchu Ziknei Eides Yideyim. The Ziknei Eida, we had this pasuk before by Parallel and Davar Shal Tzibur, the Ziknei Eida put their head on the Rosh Hapar, their hands, on the Rosh Hapar. So ma lahalan miyuchad neshabeida. Just like over there it was from the miyuchad neshabeida, the Sanhedrin Gedela, and we learned that from the pasuk ha'eda, not Eda, but ha'eda, the chashva Eda. So we said that was from the Sanhedrin Gedela. So that's what Yehuda over here knows. Afkan miyuchad neshabeida. It means miyuchad neshabeida the Sanhedrin Gedela. Frak the Gemara yalf leil kula me'asam. If Rabbi Yehuda is already learning Gzer Shava from there, from Parallel Davar Shal Tzibur, learn at the whole thing and say just like over there you have to have 5 because that's what Rabbi Yehuda held over there. Rabbi Yehuda held by Parallel Davar Shal Tzibur you needed 5. So say that over here also you need 5. And then Zekanecha v'Sheftecha lamali. What do you need Zekanecha v'Sheftecha for? You don't need these extra ribois. 2 from Zekanecha, 2 from v'Sheftecha, and then you have maybe as in Shakal. You don't need it. Just learn from the Gzer Shava. Gemara says no, you're right. Rabbi Yehuda does not learn from the Gzer Shava. Elavav v'Sheftecha leminyana. The extra vav of Rabbi Yehuda. I'm sorry. Did I say Rabbi Shimon? I meant Rabbi Yehuda. The vav of v'Sheftecha, the extra vav of v'Sheftecha, I didn't have to say it. Leminyana. That's coming to tell you that it's from the Sheftecha is telling you that's the Michad Sheftecha, and the Vav is a riboy to tell you that it should have another 2 dayanim, not just the 2 from the Zekanecha. You have another 2 besides that, and then Ebez and Shakel, so you have to have another 1, so you have 5. Rabbi Shimon Vav Leidarish, and Rabbi Shimon does not learn the Vav. He doesn't learn that as an extra drasha, and that's why he ends up with 3. Frak the Gemara Elamiatav Yatzu Shnayim Maddu Shnayim Rabbi Yehuda Harei Tesha Rabbi Shimon Sheva. The Gemara says, I have a problem. You're telling me you're learning from this lashon of Yatzu Zikanecha Lashon Rabim Sheftecha Lashon Rabim, right? Well, you have 2 other psukim, and this is just like we said before. We said on Daf Yud Beis and Beis, I think it was, by Parallel Davar Shal Tzibur, that it says v'samchu, that's shnayim. They should do smicha, right? That's plural. So for Akta Gemara, you have the same problem over here. The pasuk of Zikanecha v'Sheftecha is plural, but there's other words in the pasuk. It says v'yatzu Zikanecha v'Sheftecha umadadu. The Zikanim and Sheftim should go out, Lashon Rabim, and they should measure Lashon Rabim. So that should be 4 in addition. So the Gemara is asking, the Rabbi Yehuda have a Tisha, so now Rabbi Yehuda said you have 5 before, now add another 4, so now you have 9 total. And the Rabbi Shimon Shiva, Rabbi Shimon said before you have 3, now add another 4, you have another 7. So what are you going to do with the Vyatzu and thank you? What are you going to do with the Vyatzu and what to do? And for the Gemara, they use those words of Yatzu and Umadadu, they use it for the following brisa. The Tanya we learned in a brisa. Yatzu hein v'lo shluchan. They go out. The bezdin goes out, and not their representatives. They can't send the shliach out in their place. Umadadu, they measure shafilu nimtza ba'alil. The question was which one was it closer to? Which one was the body? Which city was the body closest to? So even if it was ba'alil li'ir, even if it's totally clear, it's no shaila. It's very clear that it's closer to this city and not closer to any other city. Still, sarah classic v'mdida. They have to do this measurement. In other words, the measurement you have to do. It's I guess symbolic. The Torah is saying you have to do this measurement, even if you know the answer. What? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
You know, you see clearly amongst one thing. One thing. Well, there's a measurement done if they don't know where it was saying from.
You don't know where the murderer came from. Right? That's what you're saying. We don't know the
Because
murder.
one side closer, why does it make a difference?
Right.
The Torah says
We
that
don't
you
know,
put,
we
you
see
do
him
the
He was found, they both feel guilty, right? We didn't take care of him. We didn't feed him, so you had to go out and...
Right.
It's a fellow, he's in between two cities, that's it.
Right.
Pasuk says.
But if he's dead 10 feet from one city, it's obvious he's from this city, and not the other one. What do you have to measure over here for? Measure
Somebody got killed or he just died of hunger?
No, he got killed. Here, let me read the pasuk to you. It's in Parashas Kisei. I'm sorry, Parashas Shoftim, the end of Parashas Shoftim. Ki matzei chalul ba'adam, when you find a dead body in the ground, asher Hashem lekach hanesin chal rishta, that Hashem gave you to inherit, in other words, in Eretz Yisrael, noifel basada, fell in the field, killed in the field, lo yinodem yiko, and it's not known who killed him. So somebody killed him. It's obvious that he was killed, but you don't know how. V'yatzu zekanecha v'sheftecha, your zekanim and your shoftim, when we saw the machlekes Reb Shimon and Yehuda in this, go out. Umadadu el ha'arim asher svivas hachalal. They measure to the city that's around, the cities that are around the chalal, to find the closest one. The ear that's closest to the chalal, the zikanim of that city will take eglas bak, or a calf, that was never worked with and never schlepped a yoke. And then they bring it, and the Gemara goes down. They chop chop the head off, and they say the whole ceremony, if you will, of Egla Rufa.
Yes.
But the point is that you need to know which one it's closest to, because that's the one that brings the
But
word.
if it's obvious which closest to, he's 10 feet from one city, it's that city.
So the pasuk is telling you it's Exeris HaKasav, that
know,
even if you know which one's closer, you take in a measuring tape and you start measuring.
The pasuk that we don't know which city is closer, so we have to go measure it. But if you know which city is closer,
So this is what you're saying is exactly what the Bryce is coming to Bavarn. Bryce is saying, don't say what you're saying. Bryce is saying, the pasuk is saying, don't touch the pasuk. Is saying it's like a time of dekra that you don't know, so therefore you measure. No, the pasuk is telling you you have to go measure. That's
very often people go at night walking, and at night in those days they got killed, got robbed.
Could very well be. Could very well be.
it's like
Okay.
New York City.
Yeah. Okay, the Gemara says, Masnisan Loiki Aitana. The Mishnah, our Mishnah is not like the following Tana. The Tanya we learned in a Brayser, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, V'yatzu zekenecha v'sheftecha. And this, you're going to like this more, Rabbi Shmuel. Your zekanim and your sheftim go out. Who is zekenecha and sheftecha? Zekenecha is the Sanhedrin. Zekenecha is the Sanhedrin.
How many?
V'sheftecha.
How many is that?
Hold, good question. Hang on a sec. V'sheftecha is a melech v'kayin gadol. Sheftecha means the king and the kayin gadol, both. Melech tiksiv. How do you know shefet is a melech tiksiv melech ba mishpat yamid aretz? That the melech is with mishpat stands, makes the land upright, so supports the land. So that's, you see, a melech is called sheftecha, and kayin gadol tiksiv avasal kainim alavim vel hashefet. It says you come to the kainim and the shefet. So you see, shefet is associated with the kayin gadol. And therefore, the Kayin and the Kayin Gadol and the king also go out. Frakti Gemara, and this was your question. Is he arguing in two things or in one thing with the Tana of Mishnah? Do you say?
We didn't bring a pasuk for the Sanhedrin. We brought pasuk for everybody else, for the Kangadol.
Because he says the Taicha is a Kenecha Sanhedrin. The Taicha is a Kenecha Sanhedrin. You don't need a limit for that, right? And then he says, so the Gemara wants to know what's Shan Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. What's he arguing with the Mishnah? Who asked the Shaila? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov b'chada palag or b'tarti palag? Is Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov arguing in one thing with the Mishnah or two things? Do you say b'melech v'kayin gadol palag al b'sanhedri yikra Yehuda yikra Shimon? He's arguing that the melech and the kayin gadol have to go out. But as far as Sanhedrin goes out, he holds either like Rabbi Yehuda they need 5, or like Rabbi Shimon they need 3. You don't need more than that. So he's really only arguing in one thing by saying the melech and the kayin gadol have to go out too, in addition to the 3 or the 5 dayanim. Idilma, or do you say Sanhedrin nami palang? He's arguing in the Sanhedrin also. The Amar kula Sanhedrin binan. He says maybe you need the entire Sanhedrin to go out. That's the
what, 71?
Yeah, the full Sanhedrin. So, and then he's completely arguing with Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. So Amar Rav Yosef says, I'll bring you a raya. Tashma, I'll bring you a raya. Matzana base pagi. V'himra alein. Yachol te'amra, si hamra, tamler v'kam tavalis halamakim. Let's explain what's going on over here. There's halacha of zakin mamrei. A zakin is somebody from the Sanhedrin who argued and refused to accept the psak of his comrades on his colleagues on the Sanhedrin.
He's
zakin mamrei. And he refused to go, and he goes back to his own city and he paskins not like them. There's a whole set of halachas, and that is he gets chenek. Can't do that. So the Gemara says, the Brisa says, Matzana Beis Pagi. Let's say this Zakin Mamrei met the Sanhedrin in Beis Pagi. Beis Pagi is a place in Yerushalayim. What?
So the animal's head stall.
Okay, it's a place. Oh, okay, it's a place in Yerushalayim. The halachas of Yerushalayim, but it's not in the Beis Hamikdash. So he met them in Beis Pagi, v'himra alein, and he rebelled against them. Yachol te'amra si hamra. So maybe you think that his hamra, his rebellion would be a rebellion, and therefore he would get chenek. Tamalaymer, no. Pasuk says, v'kam teva lisa la makam. You get up and you go to the place. Malav sham makam goyrim. He has to be in the place for the Sanhedrin to rebel in the Sanhedrin for it to be considered zakin mamrei. Now, Gemara says, what's this case over here? The nafakama. How many people?
A makam is what? Which place?
The
Place they usually go, right?
Yeah, it's talking about the place of the Sanhedrin. So the Gemara wants to clarify like this: the nafakama. How many people of the Sanhedrin went out that he met in Beis Pagi? That we say.
Again, what was the question?
He met the Sanhedrin in Beis Pagi. How many did he meet? He meet 10 of them, 3 of them, 71 of them? Because we're going to see it's not so pasha to meet them outside of the Sanhedrin. Yeah, it's not so pasha. If you're going to say they met part of them, it can't be they met only part of the Sanhedrin. Why? He meets 10 of them by Beis Pagi, or 40 of them by Beis Pagi, or 30, however it is, right? Could be that the other ones who are inside Beis Hamikdash still, in the Lishkas HaGazis, right? They maybe still agree with him. So how do you know that his rebellion is a rebellion, right? They're not all there to.
Who asked him his rebellion? He went there.
He said, I say this is mutter. They said it's usher, right?
They means the whole Sanhedrin.
The Sanhedrin he met at Beis Pagi, right? Remember, the pasuk by the Gemara, the Brisa by Beis Pagi is saying that it's not considered a zakin mamrei for that. But the question is, what's the havamina that it would be considered a zakin mamrei? That you have to bring the pasuk of a makim to tell you that the makim is goyrim, right? So what's the case? So it can't be that only part of them were there. Elabshita denafakulu. It must be that the whole Sanhedrin left. The whole Sanhedrin left to be outside the Beis Hamikdash. Lamai. And what did they leave for? If they went out, I don't know, for a simcha or something like that, can they go out of the Beis Hamikdash for that? The pasuk says, pasuk in Shiur, Sharreich agan hasar al yechsar mazeg. The Gemara later on, Daf Lamed Zayin, is going to say that. What was that?
Maybe it wasn't a mishmar, they could leave.
The Sanhedrin didn't have mishmaros.
Right, so why can they leave? But
so the Gemara Daf Lamed Zayin says Sharreich, the Gemara Darshans over there is talking about the Sanhedrin. Agan Hasar is guarding Klal Yisrael. Hasar is in a circle. Al Yachzar Mazek, they can't be missing they can't be missing. The Gemara Darshans is talking about they can't be missing a third, right? So now they can't be missing 2/3. They have to always have a third there. A third is going to be approximately 23. So you always have to have a minimum 23 left in the Beis Hamikdash. So now, if they went in for Davar Rishus, it must be they left 23 people there. If they left 23 people there, then again, how could he be a Zaken Mamre? Maybe the people inside still agreed with him. El Pshita L'Dvar Mitzvah. So it must be they all left for a Dvar Mitzvah. And for a Dvar Mitzvah, they are all allowed to leave. Hechidami. What's the case of leaving for that a dvar mitzvah? Lavlam didas egla must be for the case of measuring for an egla rufa. So you see, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov here, and it's Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. The Amar Kuli Sanhedrin, that you need the whole Sanhedrin. So Rabbi Yosef is saying the only way you can make sense of this brisa is by saying that the brisa is going according to Rabbi Eliezer and Yaakov, and the whole Sanhedrin had to leave to measure the Eglah Rufa. Otherwise, there's no situation in which this brisa makes sense. Frak the Gemara. Amar le'Abaya, Abai said back to him, "Lo, you have no raya. You have no raya that the whole Sanhedrin had to leave, and therefore Rabbi Eliezer and Yaakov holds not like Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, and he says you have to have the whole 71 members of the Sanhedrin go and be go to Eglah Rufa. It could be that the reason why they left was to be meisif on the city of Yerushalayim, the Chayma Seir, the official boundaries of Yerushalayim. The official boundaries of Yerushalayim are very negeya for halacha because you need to know about eating Meiser Sheni and bringing that to Ravaya. What?
Also, they went to check it out.
So they have to go to the place where they're making the be meisif on the air, or where they're meisif on the azara. Yeah, they have to go there. It's part of the halachas of how to be meisif on the air. Tanan, like the Mishnah says, ein meisifen al ha'ir v'al ha'azara sel b'vesn shel shavim echad. You don't add on to the city of Yerushalayim or on the azara except with the bestin of 71. So therefore, you see,
you don't add on. I mean, you measure this at a certain point. You got to be meisif it now. What's Israel?
What do you mean?
Be meisif on the ear of Yerushalayim. How? How they get meisif? Yerushalayim is Yerushalayim. It covers a certain area. So we're supposed to call meisif.
What if they want to make a bigger area?
Yeah. So they call that Yerushalayim also?
Yeah, they say this is also part of Yerushalayim. They go and they add on. Here, this suburb is part of Yerushalayim. Right? But you have to sometimes because you want people to eat, let's say, Meiser Sheni, right? Let's say Yerushalayim grows, like for today. Look at Yerushalayim now. Yerushalayim today is way bigger than Yerushalayim of ancient years, right? Because we see where the walls were. At least part of the walls are still there, right? So
that's all the old city.
Right. But but if they want to add on to that, it makes a lot of halachic differences, right? But can you eat it? Can you bring Meiser Sheni up there and eat it over there? Things like that. So you need to know where it is. So to do that, you need to have a bestin of the Sanhedrin has to go out there. So Abayi is tiny to Rav Yosef. You said that the only situation that makes the brisa could make sense that the Sanhedrin would leave the Lishkas Hagazis would be for the mitzvah of Eglah Rufa, according to Rabbi Eliezer and Yaakov. No, it's not true. I have another situation. It could be they went out to be meisif on the Azara or meisif on the Chayma Seir on the city of Yerushalayim, and therefore that's why they left. So you have no raya that Rabbi Eliezer and Yaakov holds that you need all 71 to go to Eglah Rufa. So the Gemara, no, we have a braya, the first raya from a brisa like Rav Yosef. Tanya comes to Rav Yosef. We have a brisa that's like Rav Yosef. Matzana beis pagi v'imra alehen. If the Zakin Mamre met them at beis pagi, and he rebelled against them. And the Brisa says all three cases. They went out to measure an Eglah Rufa, the distance to the city, or to Yosef on the city and on the Azaras. You would think his Amra is rebellion as Amra. He has to go to the place. The place is Gairim. So what you see is that Rav Yosef is right, because this version of the Brisa says Mefurish that they left to go out to, one of the things that they would go out to would be for Midas Eglah, must be that all 71 had to go out, and so Bezim and Yaakov. Okay, now the Mishnah continues with Neter Ravai and Meiser Sheni Shein Dam Avidum B'Shleisha. But before we go to that, I just want to point out that the Gemara over here skips two things. I don't think the Gemara is going to bring it later. The Gemara skips that Chalitza and Mi'unin are b'shleisha. Chalitza is with 3, and Rashi and the Mishnah brings down that you learn that out from, and the Gemara learns that out in Gemara and Yavamas. So as Hashem, when we get to Yavamas, we'll see that. And Mi'un, Rashi explains that Mi'un is when you have a Yisema whose mother or brother's married her off. She can go and say, I don't want to continue being married. What? When she's a katana still. But as long as she has to do that in front of 3 dayanim, and the reason is because Rashi says that called the Takan Rabbanan came the Raisa Takan. When the Rabbanan were masakin something, they did it like the Raisa, and therefore yes, they need three. Okay, now the Mishnah continues. Netar Avai Meiser Sheni Shin Dam if you do b'shleisha. If you need to redeem Netar Avai, the fruit of the tree, the fourth year that accrue, or Meiser Sheni that you have to bring up to your shleim and you want to be paid it and figure out the value of it. Shein Dam if you do, but the value is not known. B'shleisha, that's with 3 dianim. What's the value is not known. Tan Rabbanan, the Rabbanan learned. Ezu Meiser Sheni Shein Dam if you do. And what does it mean Meiser Sheni that the value is not known? Because usually things have a value, right? You go to the store and you look and you see oranges are $3.99 a pound, so you have the value. No? But over here we're talking about Peiros Sharakivu, fruit that went bad a little. The yayin shehekrim, and wine that started going and becoming vinegary, or ma'is shechlidu, or money, coins that became rusty. In all these situations, you can't go to the store and see what the price is because
you can't figure out the value. You don't know.
You don't know the value because they don't have a regular value, right? So now you have to bring an expert in to yeah. So
who says these people are experts?
So let's look at the Gemara. So let's look at the Gemara.
About food. Any supermarket the
Gemara says, Tan Rabbanan, the Rabbanan learned. Meiser Sheni Shein Dam Viduin Paidin Aisa B'Shleish Lukuches. When you have Meiser Sheni and you don't know the value, you're paid it. You could be paid it with 3 Lukuches is 3 experts. You find 3 storekeepers who know how to buy and sell stuff and they know the value of things. They're the ones who can evaluate how much this is worth. But you can't use 3 people who are not Lukuches, who don't know the value. Afilu Nachri. There's a girsa on the side that's like in the new Gemara that's a little clearer to read. Avaloi b'shleisha she'enon lukuches. And you can't use 3 that are not lukuches, that are not experts in buying and selling. Afilu echad man guy, even if one of them is a guy. Afilu echad man bailim, even if one of them is the owner himself. In other words, even the owner could be one of the 3. You don't say he's an egei b'davar and therefore he cannot be one of the people who evaluate it. Even the owner himself could evaluate it. But Rabbi Yirmiyah asked the shaila. Let's say you have 3 people, but they're all putting it into one wallet. In other words, they're partners, right? So can these 3 people, these people are close together, and let's say they're going to be even evaluating their own Meiser Sheni maybe. Are they considered like 3 separate people for evaluating Meiser Sheni or not? Tashma, I'll bring you a raya. Price says, Ishu shtei nashav paidin Meiser Sheni, shein dam if you do it. A man and is married to 2 wives. If he has 2 wives, so it's 3 people total. They can go and be paid in Meiser Sheni that you don't know the value of. So you see that even though the man and his 2 wives pashtus are sharing their same bank account, you see it's okay that they could all evaluate it together and it's good. Mara says no. Maybe the guy's marriage is such, like Rav Papa and the daughter of Abba Sarah. Rav Papa's wife was Abba Sarah, was Abba Sarah's daughter, and she was a wealthy woman. She had her own properties that Rav Papa didn't have. So the Gemara is saying Rav Papa was also a wealthy man, by the way. Rav Papa was a beer seller. He made beer.
Marriage and have her own bank account?
She had her so what? The Gemara said she probably maybe people gave her stuff that but I don't remember. I know it's Rashi says Oisel Atzma. She would work for herself. She's basically her own boss. All right, and we have Gemaras that said a woman is allowed to say Ini Nizaynis Ve'Niyaisa. Right, I'm not going to take mazon from you, and I'm not going to. She still gets ksuba. Yeah, still gets ksuba. But the point is that maybe this Ish V'Shtei Nashav is like Rav Papa and Bas Abba Surah, and therefore they don't have the. And therefore, they're not sharing the same wallet. Interestingly enough, the Rambam, the Paskins, like the Gemara's Shaila, that the Ishu Shtei Nashav, that even if they are sharing the same thing, they could be paida. And this is the Kesef Mishnah over there says that this Dilma Kun of Papa Bas Abasra is just a dichli the Gemara is saying, but the Rambam Paskins like the Havamina, not like this dichli. Okay, Gemara says weiter. To be paid to evaluate a hegdish, you need 3 people also. Masnisan like Yaitana. The Mishnah is not like the following Tanya. The Tanya will learn in a Bais like this. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, even a tzinoira of Hegdesh needs 10 people to redeem it, to evaluate how much it is. A tzinoira, Rashi says, is a very small golden keli, a very small fork type keli that you use for spinning gold thread, which is a very fine thing. So we're talking about a very small keli. But even that little tiny thing, you need 10 people to evaluate it. So you see that this Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov is much more machmer than our Mishnah, which only says 3 people.
Why 10? Why 10?
We're going to see in a second. Do we need 10 because we're going to see let's see in a second. Amler Papa Labai. Papa said to Abai, Bishlam Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov to Amra Kishmol. I can understand Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov who says you need 10 because he also like Shmuel. The Amra Shmuel says Asara Kayanim Ksuvim B'Parsha. Says the word Kayin like the Chishav Lehakayin, things like that. It says it 10 times in the parsha. So the 10 times that it says Kayin teach us that you need 10 people. And there's really 3 parshas over here. One parsha is by being paide Hegdesh, Stam. I'm sorry, one is by parsha of Erechin, where you say Erech Adam Alai. Right, so you're taking on the value that the Torah says based on his age on yourself, and you have to pay to Hegdesh. It says 3 times there, and it says 3 times by Pidyon Behema, by being paid a Behema of Hegdesh, and then it says 4 times by being paid a Karka from Hegdesh. So you have 3, 3, and 4. So Shmuel says that's a total of 10 times. You add that together, and that's why you need 10 people to be paid a Hegdesh. That's what Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov.
I said, Erkiolai, there's such a value.
Yeah.
So it's not like, you don't know how much it's worth. A person's erech is so-and-so.
Yeah, but we're not learning from that piece. We're learning from the fact that it says Kayin so many times that it didn't have to say it, that each one is talking about a different person. And you need, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov holds that you need 10 people to do the total, that evaluation.
No, but a person needs no evaluation. Torah tells you how much person is worth.
I understand, but we talk about the parsha of Hegdesh and being evaluated from and figuring out from Hegdesh. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says you learn from those 10 times that it says Kayin. El Rabbanan Shloisha Manalahu. But according to the Rabbanan, how do you know that you need 3? V'chitem in the Ksiv B'hu Shloisha Karkais. If it says because it says by Karka, it says 3 times the word Kayin. Then. I'm sorry. And if you're going to tell me because it says 3 times the first time around by Erech or by Hegdesh, or by the last parsha, which is talking about Pidyon of Hegdesh, where it says 4 times the word Kayin, you should need to have 4 dayanim. And if you're going to tell me that no, you do need to have 4 dayanim by Karka. It says later on in our Mishnah on Beis Amud Aleph that by Karka, being paid a Karka, you need 9 people on a Kain, so you need 10 again. Elamai, what are you going to tell me? The Mishnah Mibuhu Asara, that you have, what it finishes off with 10. In other words, Karka is the last parsha. So the first parsha says 3. Second parsha says 3. Karka, the last parsha, says 4. Well, Karka is the last one, so you see, it's talking about all 10 from before. Well, if that's the case, Hekdeshis, the case of Hegdesh, which is the second parsha, the first one is Erechin, second one is Hekdeshis, of Hegdesh of Behema. It says 3, right? But that's the Mishnah Mibuhu Shita. That's finishing off with 6 because it comes after the first 3 from Erechin and then the second 3 of Hegdesh. So that's finishing off with 6. So then Libo Shita, you should need 6. Gemara says Kasha, it's Kasha. The Gemara doesn't say over here, so clearly how you know the Makar for this, for the Rabbanan. Okay, there's Hashem tomorrow night. We'll pick up from over here.
Okay.